Welcome back to part 3 of our interview with Mackie Burt, actress and author of the highly anticipated first novel of the above series from Carthay Circle Publishing. Now, as an author who's about to be published, to have your novel debuted, it's a very exciting time. But for some people, they think it's instant success. We're in that age of American Idol. Like,
right.
Here you go, I'm instantly successful.
Bam, yeah.
But why don't you take the audience through the process? You've written a novel. How did you get to where you are now? There had to be some bumps along the way.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting process because I did it kind of with tunnel vision, where when I first did it, I made sure that I wrote 7 pages a week. That was it. So that's pretty simple to get done. You just have to do your 7 pages. That took me about 6 months. And then I had no idea what to do with it. So I looked online and it said, you have to write queries. So I started drafting up queries and sending them to some agents. All of them I got rejections from. The unfortunate thing with young adult books right now is that there is a saturated marketplace. So they had certain books that were similar.
Like the Twilight Effect.
Exactly.
Why don't you tell people what some of the rejections, why you got the rejections?
They don't, all they send you back is this project isn't for us. So,
right.
I don't know.
It makes you wonder who's actually going through these,
oh,
submissions,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, I read so much too, so I didn't understand. I knew it needed a lot of work, but I didn't know anything of the process, but I figured that was part of the process. You work with an agent and, they develop that. Right. But so I kind of let it sit there for a few months, and my good old mother, just like she is, she sent it to one of the producers that I had met. His name's Tropp, that I had met through acting. So she sent it to him and he read it and he told me that he'd wanted to work on it and develop it with me, which it needed a lot of work. And I actually think more than getting all the no's, that was the hardest part, is just the amount of work you have to put into it, which, in hindsight,
right. There's no app for it. You
got
to actually put in the time.
You got to put in the time.
So now you have this novel, you have some rejection letters, and you've met Barry.
Yes.
And Barry's now working with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think this is fascinating for the people because we're showing the inner workings of what it could take to become a published author.
Yeah.
So now Barry's working with you on this. And so where are we now at your age?
So Barry, I was 17. Mm-hmm. Barry and I started working for about 6 months on it. We went 3 or 4 times a week. We'd work together. Then I'd send him 10 or 15 pages each week with revisions. And we got to that point where we finally had a complete novel. My mom had just gotten a Nook. So I had spent that 3 weeks reading 15 books. We all know what I do with my life now. I did things that trip though too. So I was home, so I read these 15 books and I read all of these eBooks.
Sure.
And it's until I really read on the Nook, I hadn't seen what big of a platform that was. And I called the producer up and I was like, I think we should look into making it an ebook. Don't know what that means, don't know how we're going to do that, but we should look. And he had a contact through when he set us up with Wowio, and there we are in the VIP lounge.
Well, it's just great to have you here, part of the publishing family. So
thank you.